C Squared After Dark, the first episode, just a couple of days, your course came out, the Dark Archangel. Tell us a bit about that and your course and your lines perhaps have been used already at the very top level. A big game today at the Qatar Masters was between Magnus and Kartikeyan Murali from India. And Kartikeyan with the black pieces successfully used this opening. Tell us a bit about this game.
Yeah, this is a chessable course. It is a black repertoire against the Ruy Lopez. It covers all of the lines that you'll need to play the Ruy Lopez with the black pieces. And it's based on the Archangel variation. So that's why it's called the Dark Archangel. Caruana's Ruy Lopez. Mm-hmm. And it begins after e4, you play e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop e5 is the Ruy Lopez. And this is our move. This is the start of the repertoire, this position. Here we cover all of white's options, which mostly are to take or to go back. Mm-hmm. And Magnus today went back. It's the main move. We developed our knight. And Magnus decided to play a rare line. He moved the knight out here. So in the course, we do consider this move, as well as moves like d3. Short castle is the main move, of course. Queen to e2, d4. All these moves are covered. But Magnus played knight to c3. Very standard move that no matter what your level is, obviously, even up to the World Championship level, but also if you're playing at, let's say, the club level or the intermediate level, you're probably going to see this move a lot. And the basic premise of our repertoire is that we chase the bishop away, dealing with the threat of this knight. Now it's, of course, not attacked anymore, and we develop the bishop to the long diagonal. This is a fundamental choice. Does it go to e7 or to c5? In that repertoire, no matter what white's fifth move is, we develop the bishop to c5. So whether white plays d3, queen e2, short castle, the bishop goes there. And this was the game between Magnus and Kartikeyan, as you mentioned. And here Magnus played this move, knight to d5, which he had actually played before a long time ago against Levon Aronian. And so he brought it out again today. And because Kartikeyan had apparently not purchased my course, he didn't know what to do here.
Very bad.
He pushed his pawn forward, but he didn't realize that in this position, it's very important to get your king into safety. So the correct move is to castle. That's what he should have done. And the point is that now, for concrete reasons, white is not able to build a c3 and d4 center as Magnus was able to in the game because the e4 pawn can safely be captured next move.
So if you play c3...
yeah, this just doesn't work out for white. You just take on e4. And because the king is in the center, there's no stuff involving d4 and trying to exploit that king position.
So you have to maybe lose some time with the move d3?
Yeah, Magnus has played this move, and here black can capture. And after bishop takes, move this rook out, sliding away, dealing with this potential pin, and then the knight is ready to move here. And very often you're sacrificing the e5 pawn, and white cannot capture it right away because of all these queen d4 tricks that are quite well known. So attacking the pawn f2 and knight on e5 and so on. So that's why, tactically speaking, and of course this is all covered quite a lot in the course, this position is fine. This was actually the game between Magnus and Levon. Mm-hmm. But instead, black in the game today against Magnus, Kartikeyan played the move after knight d5, d6. And then Magnus was able to play c3, and now it's no longer safe to capture on e4, so he was able to build up the c3, d4 center. But regardless of the opening success that he had, which of course wouldn't have happened if Kartikeyan had studied the course, still, black managed to win this game. The position got crazy. This is sort of typical of the opening, that it's like very double-edged and a lot of chances for both sides. And Magnus wasn't able to handle the complications too well at some point, and black actually won this game, which you don't see every day, right? Magnus losing with the white pieces doesn't happen very often. So it was an inspiring game for sure, but definitely black could have played the opening a bit more precisely.
Absolutely. Only if he would have gotten the chessable course that just came out a couple of days and studied this specific line with knight to c3, which is a bit of a sideline. Nevertheless,
maybe it worked out for him anyway.
It did work out,
but it's better to learn your openings.
And that's perhaps the nature of this opening as well. It's very solid, but at the same time, it produces a lot of chances for black due to the nature of this bishop to c5, which is very aggressive.
I'll just show you one more thing. If we go back a few moves to this position, after we developed our knight back to f6, and Magnus had played knight c3, white can also try to first castle
Which is the main line.
Yes, the main move. And then after b5, bishop b3, bishop c5, this is the start of the Archangel. And here white can also play knight c3. And there's some differences between if white plays knight c3 without castling or with castling. It's just move order differences. For example, Hikaru this year played against me without castling, as Magnus did. However, in 2013, I was playing Veselin Topalov, former world champion, and he castled and played knight c3. And I didn't know. I played the same sort of mistake that Karthikeyan did. I played d6. And I didn't know that after knight d5, this starts to get very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And the most accurate move is, again, to castle. So these themes are kind of coming up again and again. And I played this move more recently against Grigorio Parin in an online tournament this year. And then he attacked the b5 pawn. I defended it with rook b8. And he went for this knight d5, knight takes e4. And this is the point of why we don't play d6. Because after he pinned my knight here, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point. That's why you don't play d6, because you keep
go back.
Yeah, you keep the flexibility of the bishop, and you got your king into safety. So these move orders are very important. But all this stuff is covered in a lot of detail, so anyone who studies it will know all these little tricks that white can. For example, against Hikaru, I didn't know, even with a lot of experience, I got mixed up in the opening, and I actually got a bad position in that game as well. So very tricky stuff. So if you want to know about these variations and more, we're going to leave a link in the description below, and you can check it out. And if you don't like what you see, there is actually a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can always refund it. But there's also some free video there, so there's a lot of like little tasters if you like it. But yeah, definitely check it out.